Well, this morning we're joined by Mahmoud Othman, the public affairs analyst. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you very much. Good morning, viewers.
Well, lots of security chiefs have been speaking on this matter. We had one yesterday, but the Chief of Air Staff also spoke on this matter, and here's his view.
We've had some successes in Borno State, as you are aware. Yobe is now becoming quiet. Unfortunately, Kano, that these miscreants have been using as a quiet base, that is where they hoped to be launching attacks against us from. The people have turned against them because they've seen through them. For instance, the last attack that they did, where they used suicide bombers to bomb police facilities, what did we see? Some of them came out and started shooting members of the public. 99% of the people that died were Muslims. So that shows us that this is not a religious thing at all. These people have another agenda. And the earlier we all understand it and rally around to defeat them, the better. You see, when things are like this, people will always panic, people will be fearful. But all you need to do is have some patience. We are getting on top of it. And the important thing also is that everybody must join this fight. It is not a fight for the military alone or for the police alone. Intelligence is the key to this operation. That means everybody, the shoemaker, the Okada rider, everybody must give information.
Well, a whole lot put in that submission by the Air Chief Marshal Oluseyi Pettinari. But listen to this. It does appear, or can you consider some of what he said as fresh perspective?
Well, I don't understand what is fresh perspective in this.
In terms of the tactics and how he said...
well, you know, this is the same story we always hear from the authorities. But the problem is... a little problem that started in one little corner of Maiduguri town, or Maiduguri city, was out of even Maiduguri metropolitan local government itself, not talk of the whole local government, was allowed now to trigonometrically spell out all over, from Borno to Yobe to Adamawa to Bauchi, now to Kano. But the way it happened in Kano, coordinated to take place between 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. in different locations with military and scientific precision. And all those places that were targeted were security posts from zonal command of the police, as zonal command, the AIG's territory. I believe the AIG there takes care of Kano, Jigawa and the Katsina states. The police command, state police command in Bompai, the SSS headquarters, the passport office of immigration in Farm Center, and some DPO or area commands, all at the same time. So if security people keep telling us that they are on top of the situation, they have made this arrest, they have made that arrest. Now, in the civilized world where system works, all that you need really is one person you arrest. Through intelligent interrogation, you get a lot of information, which will give you lead to go and arrest these people before they create their havoc. But immediately after Kano, what happened a night after? They were in Bauchi, in Tafawa Balewa area, and Liman Katagun Junction, and Bauchi itself, even though the one in Bauchi were being told that it was a transformer that exploded, whatever that is. So if they really want to work properly, this is what we have been talking in this program and many other fora. Intelligent gathering. It's not enough just to keep telling people to pass information. How do they even pass the information?
Okay, but let's comment on this recent Kano incident, because there appear to be some peculiarities. When we had the Channels Forum the last time, they did tell us that it was a different scenario in Kano, and that the circumstances there was not exactly the same, that they had tried to penetrate previously but were rebuffed. But now we've seen these attacks. What can you tell us about what happened?
Well, what happened in Kano actually was that I think as far back as either August or September, the Jama'atul Ahlul Sunnah people wrote to the governor, the emir of Kano, Alhaji Meta Masule, and some other people, saying that their members should be released, their members are being arrested unnecessarily, and so on and so on, and they should be released. Otherwise, Kano was going to see something unknown before. And I learned that by either on October or November, they sent a reminder to some few people, including brought in some new people who were not written before. Now, when they went this time now, some of them who were heard talking by eyewitnesses, they were saying similar things. And their accent is not Kano accent of Hausa language. Okay, but whoever they are not spirits, they are human beings. They know exactly what they are looking for. And the way it happened, you will think that all those places that were touched were sprayed by highly flammable things, because there is no way, just throwing a bomb will explode, there will be some shrapnels all over the place, some blocks will be blown up. But for the place to catch fire like you are just spraying, like you are like a petrol tanker burning, how did they penetrate all those targets they attacked? So the attack in Kano, of course, is different. And then the other side of it is that because of our indiscipline, when I was growing up in that area, all those police stations, like the police command in Bompai in particular, they didn't have a neighbor. The nearest neighbor then was the Lebanese club opposite it, many years ago. But because of our indiscipline and our appetite for graft, people were allowed to come and put their wall or put structures all over the place. So there is no police station in Kano anymore that is isolated, that is standing on its own. It has neighbors. There is no area that you can now call the low density area. Everywhere is high density. So when situation like this comes, casualties, of course. And then people ordinary passes on the road. And then we have this culture of immediately you have some noise. Police think it is their business to fire into the air. Now the problem was this firing a live bullet into the air. Whether you like it or not, yes, you fire it into the air, but it will come down. When it comes down, if it comes down on a human being, then you have a casualty somewhere. That was not the intention. So there must be, I don't know whether it is training, because there is no training that will change this attitude. There must be attitude and a change.
You know, when you talk about attitude, it brings us back to one other area you just talked about, and that has to do with some messages that sometimes will go around and people just dismiss it. Sometimes, even watching the BBC, some of them had to call the BBC reporter Doyle and had to say, this is the reason why we're attacking and killing. Why is it that we have never, as a nation, taken any of those text messages or messages from this terror group seriously? Because we always would want to dismiss them with a wave of the hand. And true, when finally it does happen, we have this kind of casualty that we just experienced in Kano State. Is it that truly we don't have people from that sect who bring messages, or those messages were actually fabricated by non-Boko Haram members?
Well, for a long time now, there used to be some messages from different areas or different people. But at least Abu Kaka has remained constant. And they distance themselves from those things that were not done by them. Which means really some armed robbers, some other miscreants also go and do things like attacking banks and so on, and say they are Boko Haram. And there are many, about 8 months or 10 months ago, Some armed robbers went to Kaduna State, Kapur area or Malumfashi area, and attacked a bank. And when they were doing it, they were shouting Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, for people to think that they are Boko Haram. Actually, they are just armed robbers. And here and there, armed robbers also want to do their own, and they take advantage of that. But the real Jamaatul Ahlul Sunnah, the called Boko Haram, they said they always give notice of what they are going to do, and they go and do it. Now, why those people whose duty it is to analyze all these messages, look for them? I don't know. No, the Abu Kaka and whoever is talking on behalf of Boko Haram is using these networks we have in Nigeria. I don't know, the networks are there. Why nobody ever bothered to find out exactly which this message came from, which particular network, from which particular location? They can do that.
Do you suspect compromise here? Do you suspect, say, a lack of will? Because if these people are given things that even lay people can see that you can follow these leads, and it seems that, you know, it's been constantly overlooked, do you suspect foul play here?
Well, there's a lot of everything. Foul play, carelessness, indolence, everything you can think of. Lack of patriotism on the part of some people. They love themselves too much, they don't have time to love anybody else. This thing called corruption has penetrated deeply into the psyche, into the mind of a lot of our public officials. I think they have reached a point of no redemption. For the simple reason that despite all these checkpoints, despite all the so-called state of emergency, 24-hour curfew here and there, these people still find their way. And what do you have? You drive from Abuja to the airport in Abuja. You come to a point where they have a checkpoint. What are they supposed to do? Check incendiary devices with a metal detector, which is this bomb squad people. But despite all this, the crisis of the situation, or the problem we have, they recognize some faces and say, "How are you, sir? How is this thing?" Their vehicle will not be touched, will not be searched. Or open your boot. Who told them a bomb can only be in a boot? So when there's nothing in your boot, that means no problem.
So training is another major part of this.
Well, you see, I don't think, first of all, they say you can take a horse to the river, you can't force it to drink. These people who have as security agents in the country, they are getting all the training everybody else is getting. After all, they are using Israeli manual, training manual. And Israeli manual is really to deal with Palestinians. So if you are going to the extreme, some of the tear gas they are using is not ordinary tear gas, but because we don't know our rights, the slightest thing, the average Nigerian police think tear gas is a toy. You can just fire it to anybody. What happened? They don't even consider some people have high blood pressure, some people are asthmatics, and so on and so forth. So when you do that with carelessness, you are bringing in a lot of casualties. That is probably not the intention. So you have Boko Haram having a field day. Even where you say you have a joint task force organizing a search, whatever it is. Right now, if you go to the airport, you have a baggage, you're checking. Your baggage or your briefcase or whatever is supposed to go through a screener somewhere. Security people are watching on a screen. And you are encouraged to don't go away until they confirm that there is nothing in you don't have a case to answer. Do you know those boys or girls who are doing this? By the time you hang around to confirm that there's nothing questionable about in your bag, they ask you, Alaji, what do you have for us? So when they compromise like that, which means really if I have something objectionable, they will look the other way. So this is what is happening. So the people who are killing all these people all over northern Nigeria, they are penetrating the system. They know the weaknesses of the people who are looking for.
So could it be that school of thought where they suggest that it looks as if there may be a mole in government who will be disclosing every move of the government to this group before they even execute them?
There must be a lot of collaboration, for the simple reason that if you take one of the examples on Friday in Kano, there's a place called Tudumada, opposite to Wada, there's a police barracks. These people went in mobile police uniform. Any ordinary person will believe they are mobile police. What do? They went to the police barracks and shot every policeman they can find. So why do they get police uniform from? Why do they get all this paraphernalia of office of police on their shoulders? Looks very genuine, look very real, ordinary person. And when they put a checkpoint somewhere, if you are coming from what they call the Dakata area towards that, they put a checkpoint. They ask you if you are a police people. They found one of the little pickups with 7 people. They told them, are you police? Is any one of you police? We are going to search you. If we find anybody who is a policeman, we'll kill all of you. These people swore that they are not police. And they did. These people checked them. And they are not police. And they allowed them to go. Okay. So when you take that one, when you add some of these contradictions, plus so-called somebody who was taken from Abuja to Abaji, 87 kilometers away, to search his little searched house. And some people hijacked the place and said they released the person. First of all, who told those miscreants that somebody is coming? Where do they get the information from? A particular individual is coming from so and so to so and so, stop there, apprehend us, and take him away. Who did that? Where did they get that information from? So there's a lot of collaboration. There's a lot of people have to answer quite a lot.
When you look at all of this, you just highlighted, it becomes almost impossible for people to even help out. But again, what can the people do? If you say sometimes the people can easily decipher maybe from the accent of some of these people in their midst and say, oh, wait a minute, this is not a Kano resident, this is not a Borno person, this is not a Nigerian resident. What should they be doing in that regard?
They didn't do it. Many years ago, Mr. Frost wrote a poem, The Road Not Taken. I don't want to go back into it. But if you really, the things you are supposed to do, you don't do it. You are you are creating a lot of problem for yourself. We were at the beginning of this crisis, more than almost a year now. We keep talking about this on this kind of program. The problem where it started in Maiduguri Metropolitan. The guns they were getting, the initial gun they were getting were from our own police stations. They go and raid police station, take AK-47, here and there they get Kalashnikovs and so on. They don't want rifles, because rifle is an old-fashioned kind of gun, even though it has its own qualities. They use the same guns, go back and raid another police station and take more guns. Then if they have the idle security people want to internationalize the whole thing and start looking for Al-Qaeda somewhere, either Al-Qaeda in Maghreb, Al-Qaeda in Pakistan, or those in Somalia. And there is nothing like that. It's a figment of the people's imagination because they want to make money. They want recognition from CIA. They want recognition from Mossad. They want Estacode. They want to go somewhere to be in the name of internationalizing the whole problem.
But this time around, there was the government of Algeria said that it's very possible that these people have links to Akim in our land as well.
Because Algeria created its own problem. Islamic Salvation Front won election in Algeria. Ronald Reagan said over their dead body. They brought military to take over, deny those people who won the election. Those people who won the election declared war on the Algerian government. And that's the war that has been going on ever since. For them to get international sympathy, they say they're Al-Qaeda. And these are the people who are fighting them. The same thing that happened in Yemen. Forced 2 Yemens into 1 Yemen. Those who lost out, People's Republic of Yemen, became fighting the central government. For the central government to call them Al-Qaeda, and these people moved to the east, Hadramaut Mountain, got support from conservative governments like Saudi Arabia, their next door neighbor, and so on, and we are being told that everything that has happened in Yemen is not aspiration for freedom and democracy. It's Al-Qaeda there. And when Algeria will be the last one to give you an advice about anybody, because what happened in Algeria, what happened in Libya and Tunisia and so on, actually what happened in Algeria a long time ago. So those people who are fighting Algerian government are people who are denied power, even though they are elected democratically. And they move to fight the same government. But because Algeria is a big country with a desert, If they are forced out of Algeria, they jump into Mali, to the south, or west into Mauritania, and come and hit. And for them to get money, they kidnap some foreigners, make dollar demand. But Al-Qaeda, this Al-Qaeda of Bin Laden and so on, people are just using it to divert attention.
Sorry, Chairman. Yeah. Is it true that, anytime you pick up the papers, people always say the northern leaders, the traditional rulers, have not come out to condemn this menace from Boko Haram? That is what is giving them some kind of bite and airs to continue in their attacks on innocent lives.
Well, I think that one really is what they say, give a dog a bad name so you can hang it. Now, first of all, I'm not defending traditional rulers. I'm not a traditional ruler. I'm a Republican. But which South leader ever condemned men? Did you hear any? Did you read anywhere? Which Southeast person ever condemned Masob? Whoever had any traditional ruler here condemning OPC? Okay, but that is not an excuse. Out of for everyone Christian killed by Jamaat Ahl Sunnah, 15 Muslims have been killed. For everyone Christian.
By the same group?
By the same group. This group doesn't care which religion you follow. When they come to do their destruction, it doesn't mean anything to them.
Exactly, Alhaji. If you use the instances of MEND and OPC and Masob, those people do not kill innocent Nigerians. If they do, most times they say it's inadvertently, that the attacks are usually on economic installations of the country, trying to stifle the country's economy. And that, that comparison will not exactly follow here. These are not people who are targeting primarily innocent Nigerians.
No, it's the same thing, really. Those organizations I mentioned, of course, attack a lot of innocent people. God knows how many of them.
Well, OPC...
But Boko Haram, they were attacking, their first place of attack was police. Okay? Then they started targeting those people they think inform the police about them. So they were picking local government chairman, honorable state House of Assembly people in Borno State, traditional rulers they call district heads, local malams, imams. One malam who disagree with them called Imam Jafar in Kano. He was the first casualty more than a year ago. They came and killed him very early in the morning. After this, there is no trace of who killed him. Okay, so these are the same people. You are now blaming the victim as an accused, because these traditional rulers and whoever they were, if people are going to be fair to them, you go through it. Who else? But you see, North doesn't have the kind of structure some other parts of the country have, either tribal unions or whatever. For example, in the whole of Lagos, you cannot find association of Hausa people. There's nothing like that, okay? Or there's no community, something like that. So when you have Sultan of Sokoto is speaking on behalf of every Muslim.
This report, which we see in the pages of papers again today, how do people respond to it? Where they say Boko Haram says we're on the payroll of some northern governors, saying Kano and Bauchi, but those governors in turn say, well, that's not true.
Well, it's very interesting. The modern day politicians we have, out of desperation, really form militias. They call them different name, different part of the country for one thing or the other. Help them to intimidate their opponents to win election. But of course, after the election, when they are in power, those people no longer mean much to them. And those are the people now who go to status quo with their mentors. And there's a rumor going on, for example, the late Muhammad Yusuf, leader of Boko Haram, who passed away, who was shot dead by police, his bank account was being contested because that particular bank refused to release the money to whoever it was, to whom it may concern. And Boko Haram thought that bank has to be furnished. And it is one of the banks that were being attacked. So, where did Muhammad Yusuf got the money they were quoting? They assumed that he was is a payback by his godfather in politics. So, rightly or wrongly, these are rumors. I don't have proof. But to pick Governor of Kano or Governor of anywhere else is just part of the diversion. Maybe it happened in the last election of 2007 election. I am not sure if the last election, because the last election was just last year. It's not after a year old. And by that time, Boko Haram was already on the ground. It was already in circulation. They lost their leader already, and they have already attacked targets. So despite all that, the election still went ahead in Borno State in April last year. So I am not sure if what they are saying is correct, but one thing we know, whether we have proof or not, there is a lot of collaboration. There is a lot of exchanging notes.
Because we've seen senators arrested on some allegations. So
yeah,
how can this be so far away?
Okay,
from
but
the
security agencies have to come out clean, because they too, they are giving us a lot of suspicion. One so-called high-profile accused will disappear from their own hand. One day will now rope in somebody called Hassan Manguno and said they found him guilty, he confessed, blah, 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 and so on. And they said they took him to a court of law and found guilty and jailed 3 years. For the first time in our life, I have been curious about life, about everything Nigerian. I have never heard of any other prison outside Nigerian prison services. But they said that guy who was jailed for 3 years is going to serve his 3-year sentence in State Security Service prison. And no lawyer contested that one. Nobody said anything. It did not attract the attention of human rights people. Do we really have another prison system in Nigeria where somebody, a court of law, can find somebody guilty of jail him for 7 days, and he'll go and pass his prison somewhere else? Are they covering the person who is found guilty by a court of law from talking to other people?